Hi guys, welcome back to Imperial Cubing. Today's video is going to be how to solve this golden transforming mirror cube. I don't know what to call it, so I call it that. But I know it's a golden mirror cube. So, first thing you need to know on how to solve this cube is you need to know how this cube works. It works like a regular 3x3 cube, turning it. And it moves a little differently. Like its pieces are a little more uneven shaped, and the reason is because if you move it, it changes shape completely. First, it was a cube, just like this 3x3. If I move it, it becomes like this. And so it's not solved once it's like this. It has to become a cube, like a 3x3, not this weird sort of jagged rock. So in this video, there are 3 phases in how to solve it, like a 3x3, but it's a little different. So let's get straight into it. So phase 1 is like solving the edges. So before we start, I want to tell you about an easy way to solve the edges. I want you to find the extreme points in your cube. So an extreme point for me is, I like to call it an extreme point because it is either too small or too large. Like this layer, it's super thin. I can hardly move it. And this one, it's super huge. I can move it with just my pinky. So you get the idea of what the extremities are. So you want to start with either extremity and when you're solving the cube. So if it's scrambled, it's very easy to detect which one is the thin layer and which one is the thick layer because of their centers. Their center is either super low on the cube or super high on the cube. It's kind of like below and above sea level. So let's get straight into how to solve this one face. First, let's give your cube a good scramble. Okay. I think we've got it. This should be a good scramble. Now we need to locate our extremity. I think this one is the large extremity, and the tiny one or the small one should be somewhere over here. So this one must be the large one, and this one must be the small one. So thin and thick extremities are located. And now you want to pick an extremity you want to start on. I suggest starting on the tiny extremity. So the next thing you want to do is, once you located the extremities, is to solve their edges. So the easiest part on how to solve this cube is probably this, because it's very easy to locate the edges. This one is super thin, and this edge is also super thin. So we just need to push this edge in. So we just turn it up once and it's in. It doesn't matter on which side the edges are now. Then we want to look for another one. So we have this super thin edge over here. We can turn that over. So we first want to make space. Then we want to push the edge up once, make some more space, and push the edge up again. And then we have the edge in. And then now we just need to locate the last one. It's this one. It's super thin. And then we've got it. Now we want to turn it all to the opposite side. Turn it out to the opposite side. We want to turn it to the opposite side. Turn it to the opposite side. And turn it to the opposite side. They're all on the same level, and there's this really huge tower on top of it, which is the large extremity. The next thing we need to do is match the edges. This one is not about seeing, but about feeling. Because even if it's off by a centimeter, the whole cube won't be solved. So I can feel that this one is correct. So I can turn it like this. The reason I mean this is because this one is off by just a little. And so if you can see that this edge is much closer to the center than this edge is. So now we continue to search for our edges. This one matched up with this side of the cube, so we want to turn it once, twice toward the thin extremity. looking for another edge, turn it. And yes, we finally matched both of our edges. Feeling, yep, they're right here. And this one, last but not least, belongs here. And we have this sort of gold cross. It can also be silver. So, next thing we want to do is locate the corners. It's just as easy as locating the edges because they have to be super thin. And then, so we have one over here, one over here, one over here, and one over here. So, the next easiest part is figuring out where the corners should go because you want to see how much space they take up. This one is the tiniest corner by far in the entire cube, I think. So it has to go with the tiniest space. So it'll probably go here. So first, you want to remove the corner from this spot. So we turn the side it's on down, push the corner away, and bring it back up. And then, how you solve for the corner is you see how it's matching up with its layer. This one has a horizontal line on the top. You can see right here, horizontal line. So this one also has a horizontal line. So you want to keep it in like that. Next, we want to look for another piece. This piece is actually pretty big. So it should either go over here or over here. So let's turn it into both of those places. This place is much too small, as you can see, because it's still taking up more space, which means it has to go over here. So to make it go over there, we need to first see how it's going to match up. It has a horizontal bar over here, but this bar is much too small. It has a horizontal bar over here too, but this bar is much too big. So that means we have to turn the side it's on down once so that it comes to the back of the cube, and turn it once, twice, and then bring the side back up. Now we have this nice and long horizontal bar that matches up with this one, and we put the corner in. Like that, you want to continue solving the rest of the corners in the cube. Okay. This one has a horizontal bar. And then this one has a tiny horizontal bar like this one, so we can put it in like this. And you can see that we have finally solved one face of the golden transformer cube. Now on to the second phase. So, in the second phase, what we're going to do is solve the edges and solve the second layer. This is the first layer, second layer, and last layer. So, first thing we need to do is the edges is look at the bottom. So, you can see already that this edge matches up with the top tower. So we cannot use this edge. So now we want to look at the other rest of the cube and look for any edges that are already put in place. This one doesn't count because it has already matched up. So we have this edge that matches up with this center. Yep. Next thing we want to do is find of which side of the center it goes. So we want to turn the cube once to the left, F prime, and look, it matches up. But let's say it doesn't match up there, so we have to turn it to the F. And yep, it doesn't match up. So we have officially confirmed that it matches here. So now it's kind of like solving an edge piece for a 4x4 or a 3x3. We turn this edge away from the center it's supposed to go, bring that center side down, push the edge back, and bring the center up. We can see that the corner is misplaced. So we want to see the horizontal bar and the horizontal bar. And then we solve. And you can see that the edge has gone into its place. And we want to continue our search like that. We have another edge over here, so we turn it away, bring it down, push it back, up, and we solve the corner. Okay. Now, there is a case in which none of the edges are in their proper places. In this case, we have to look at the two edges. This edge is misplaced and this edge is misplaced. So, the first thing we need to do is grab a straight edge. So this straight edge is already here for us. The next thing we need to do is which side of the cube the straight edge, the wrongly placed edge is on. So the wrongly placed edge is on the right side of the cube. So we want to turn this straight edge on the left. Left, bring the right side of the cube down, push the left side back, bring the right side back up. And then solve the missing corner. And we can see we have just recently vacated that empty spot and we have a new edge. And now we can see that it matches up with this center over here. And the only edge that this center has to solve is this one. We can confirm it by turning it once to the left. So we move this edge away and we continue solving for that edge until it's finally in its place. Now, this edge is much too big, so we have to look for another edge, and that's this one. It goes into its space, and the only empty space is this one. Away, push that side down, bring it back up, away, down, back up. And so this is phase 2's end. Now on to phase 3. So in phase 1, we completed one layer. In phase 2, we completed the second layer. So phase 3 is going to be the final part on how to solve a 4x4. First thing we need to solve in phase 3 is solving the opposite layers cross. It's kind of like the white cross done on the Rubik's Cube and the yellow cross done on the third layer. But not. So the first thing we need to do is locate two edges. So you have to have either two edges on the cube or the cross already done for you. So one way two edges will appear to you is in this L. There will be two edges like this, like this, like this, or like this, forming in sort of an L pattern. The next thing you will see is this bar of edges. Two edges that are matched up with the edge. And so you can make it horizontal or vertical. Vertical, horizontal. You want to keep it horizontal. And the next final thing is you've already solved the cross. The cross is already solved for you. You got lucky if you solved this, but just stay tuned for the other people who don't. So let me go back to... So let's say you have the L. If you have the L, the next step is to get that horizontal bar. So what you want to do is you want to keep the L in a 9 o'clock position. 9 o'clock, I mean, it's like the 12 o'clock is over here and 9 o'clock is over here. Like a backwards L. Then you want to do F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. If you don't know what those mean, you can just follow along with the movements. And you can see we have a horizontal bar. Keep the bar horizontal and repeat the algorithm. Remember, if you have the horizontal bar, you will get the cross in the next set of this algorithm. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. So you have the cross. If you had the horizontal bar, you would have already gotten the cross with one set of doing this. So the next step after solving the cross is solving the edges of the cross. So the first thing you need to look for is two edges that are solved. So how you want to look for is you want to look at the cube. One edge is solved with its center, not this one, definitely not this one, and not this one. We turn the cube. Look at this. Nope. 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 And nope. Look at this. Nope. Yup. Nope. And nope. Look at this. Nope. Yup. This one matches. And yup, this one matches. So we found two edges that match with the center. So most probably you will have two edges next to each other. But there is a case that will be shown at the end of the video where you have two edges parallel to each other. So if you have two edges next to each other, which I do, you want to keep one in the back and one to the left. Then you want to carry out this algorithm. R, U2. I'll repeat. R, U2, R prime, U prime. R, U prime, R prime, U prime. And we have all of the edges solved in the center. See, this one is matched up, this one is matched up, this one is matched up, and this one is matched up. Next thing we want to do after solving the edges is solving the corners. The second to last step. So, Solving corners has two phases. The first phase is first matching up their corners in their proper place. So first we want to find where each corner goes. This corner is the huge, so it goes in the biggest spot, which has to be over here. So this corner is in its proper place. This one is the smallest corner, so it has to go over here. This one is the second largest, so it should go in the second largest square. And this one should go in this one. So we have none of them. So we want to pick a side and do U, R, U, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And we can see that we have at least one corner. If you don't have a corner in its proper place, just do that algorithm again. It need not be solved, but it has to be properly positioned. Like this one is a huge corner and it's in this huge space. So U, R, U, L prime, U, R prime, U prime, L. And then we have two corners solved, which means that the other two must be unsolved. So this is phase 2 time on how to solve the corners. And this is the final step on how to solve the cube. So we keep the corner on the left of our cube. The right of our cube. And we do R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime. And we can see that the corner is properly positioned. R, and then we move the cube once to the right. And we have this other corner that's properly misplaced. R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime. The corner isn't solved, so we have to do it again. R, U, R prime, U prime. Nope. R, U, R prime, U prime. Yup, and just turn the bottom layer once, and you have solved the golden transformer cube. When solving the last layer, you might have this case. This case is when you are solving the edges for the cross. So you can see that I have two edges, one over here and one over here, but they are not next to each other. They are parallel from each other. So the quickest way to do it is keep one edge in the front and one edge in the back. Then you do R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And then we have two edges next to each other. Then we have to keep one edge in the back and one edge on the left. And then we do R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime, U prime. And then we have all four of our edges solved. So we do U, R, U, L prime, U prime, L prime. And then we solve the rest of the cube like normal. And you can see that this case isn't much different, just that the edges were placed in a little different position. This is the end of how to solve the golden mirror cube. I hope you liked the video. If any parts were confusing or fast, please slow down or fast forward when necessary. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more notifications, and stay tuned to Imperial Cubing. See you next time!